Hello again, Noah Church here. You found my video coaching series on recovering from pornography addiction and porn-induced sexual dysfunctions. Today I've got a letter from a subscriber that I chose for today's video because it's someone who struggled for a long time, not making much progress, knowing that he had to quit using porn in order to better his life and recover from his sexual dysfunction, but continually stuck in the same cycle of relapse until he made a few very important epiphanies about where the source of his addiction was really coming from. And that is going to be very valuable for anyone out there who's trying to quit themselves. Let's get into his letter. Hello, Noah. I am, as you can guess, a recovering porn addict. I will spare you the painful details because my story is the same as everyone else's. Depression, isolation, PIED, loneliness. I've tried to quit since last May, but with little progress. However, this has changed in the past few weeks. I've started to learn the true cause of my problem, the inability to bear my emotions. I've always tried to blame my father for it. He was not a saint, shall we say. But now I know that I'm not a product of my circumstances, but of how I react to them. Only once you take full responsibility for where you are, can you set the course for where you want to go. Now this is something that a lot of people have to realize in order to actually make strides forward out of their pornography addiction and truly change their lives, get out of that cycle. Most of the people that I work with have gotten to the point where pornography is no longer just a fun pastime. It's not just something that occasionally they use for a good time, a sexual outlet, and then they don't think about it the rest of their lives. No, most of the guys I work with, they've gotten to a point where pornography use is now an emotional crutch. It probably didn't start out that way. It probably started just curiosity or horniness. And they either accidentally or on purpose found pornography on the internet. It was just a fun pastime for a while. But at some point along the line, it became a way for them to distract themselves from the problems in their lives or from difficult emotions that cropped up. Many of these guys, some of those difficult emotions were because of the pornography. Many times when a man develops PIED, porn-induced erectile dysfunction, or another sexual dysfunction coming from pornography use, it can really mess them up emotionally. It can tank their confidence. It can destroy their relationships. It can destroy their self-esteem and their self-worth. And all that is very painful and very shameful. And when we are struggling with those hard emotions, we tend, as fallible humans, to turn to whatever is going to make us feel better for the moment, make us forget about whatever we're struggling with. And when pornography is the most salient source of pleasure and the most distracting thing in our lives that we can think of, we turn to the porn as an emotional crutch. But that's when most guys really start to become addictive with their use of pornography. It's when we start to rely on this source of distraction as a means of satisfaction or happiness when it's never going to be able to bring us those things. That's when we get caught in these vicious cycles. So this individual recognized, okay, I use porn because of my inability to handle my emotions. And he's starting to take responsibility for not only where he is in life, but how he feels. He's starting to take responsibility for those emotions. He realizes, people in my life, they may have hurt me. They may not be blameless in all this, but it's my responsibility now to handle this and to build myself a happy life. I'm not saying that you are to blame or anyone is to blame for where they are, but no matter who has hurt you or who is to blame for where you are in life right now, it's not their responsibility to make your life better. It's not their responsibility to cure you of your addiction or to make you happy. That's only your responsibility. He says, since this illumination, I've started a little game. Every time I feel some kind of emotion, I let myself feel it without any kind of distraction. No phone, no books, no work, and then I name it. At the end of the day, I write everything down, and honestly, I have to look up in the dictionary for some of them since I never truly examined my emotions like that. So far, it's a very useful experiment. I am more conscious of my emotional state, but sometimes it's difficult to tolerate the painful ones, as well as not be overwhelmed by the happy ones. There's this misconception that once you're able to quit porn and be free forever, especially among the no-fap community, that every aspect of your life will just be sunshine and roses, and it'll be happiness all the time. And that's not the case. It's your quality of life, if your experience is anything like mine or most of the guys that I work with, will raise up significantly. Your baseline will be at a new, higher normal. But there's still going to be lows. There's still going to be challenges and problems in your life that crop up, of course. And it can be more difficult at times because you're not relying on that crutch to distract you from those emotions. You have to learn how to face them and feel them. And that's what this person is doing. And that's a huge step forward to becoming more self-aware and mindful of what's going on in his mind, and better able to actually handle the emotions and the problems that crop up in his life, rather than turning away from them and hoping that they go away, which never happens. When you turn away from your problems and your difficult emotions, all that happens is they grow stronger and darker and more terrifying when you actually do face them. What this person is doing, maybe he knows it, maybe he doesn't, is practicing mindful awareness of his emotional state. Anyone out there should look up mindfulness meditation. I'll put a link to mindfulness meditation for dummies in the description below. It's a practice of just being aware and being present in yourself, in your emotional state, aware of your thoughts, aware of what's happening, not getting lost in regrets over the past or worries about the future, living in the moment and being aware not only of what's going on around you, but what's happening inside. And when we're aware of that, we don't have to be our emotions. We don't have to be our thoughts. We can observe those thoughts and observe those emotions. And this can be very useful for knowing and recognizing when these tough emotions come up that usually lead us back to relapse. And then once we're aware of that and conscious of it, we can interrupt that cycle. Last but not least, today, thanks to your newsletter email, I finally told of my problem to the last person I would have ever imagined to tell about this, my mother. It was a painful experience, but now I feel a lot more relaxed and determined to accomplish my goal. I don't know how this will affect my recovery, but it feels like a step forward. He's referring to my newsletter. I send out weekly emails to people. I send out updates about new videos like this one. You can subscribe to it on my website, get a free PDF copy of my book if you haven't read that already. Give you the best foundation for recovery. And I think the email he's referring to is one in which I talk about shame and how it's essential during this recovery process to recognize what shame is and to deal with it. And the best way to abolish shame, to just demolish it, is to shed light on it, is to tell someone about what you're going through, about truly what's inside, what you're struggling with, the problems you've had, and the journey you're on and the goals you hope to achieve. And this person told his mother, and that's fantastic. And it sounds like she was supportive and understanding. Most of us have a fear that the people in our lives will shun us if we tell them the truth about what we've been struggling with. But the truth is that most of them, in most cases, will admire you for your courage in allowing yourself to be vulnerable, opening up to them, not necessarily even asking for help, but just asking for understanding. And that can be a very powerful experience. That shame can just melt away, that weight drops off your shoulders, and that can be part of what starts breaking you out of that cycle of relapse and addiction. Anyway, thank you so much for your help. Although the road is very long and I'm not expecting any miracles soon, I wish to let you know how much your honesty and kindness helps. Keep up this wonderful work. You don't know how many lives you save every day. Aw, thanks. Well, there are many lessons to learn along this journey away from pornography addiction. If you're like me, you started this just to get your erections back so you could be able to have real sex, real satisfying sex with your partner or future partners and get your sexuality back. But if you are truly addicted to pornography, especially, this journey is going to be about so much more than that. You have to learn a lot of things about yourself, about handling your emotions, and about living your life, facing your problems, and moving forward in order to truly get over pornography and heal permanently from a porn-induced sexual dysfunction. But you're going to get so much more from this journey than just your erections back or just your sexuality back. So though it may be harder than you at first expected, the rewards are also greater. All right, I hope this letter helps everybody out there who's struggling with these problems. If you'd like to get my personal help, you can always find me and ways to work with me on my website, addictedtointernetporn.com. I'll see y'all next time. Coach Church out. Oh, I almost forgot, don't leave yet. I want to give a shout out to Gary Wilson, the founder of yourbrainonporn.com, man who changed my life and many other people's lives. Excellent repository of information about pornography addiction and recovery, porn-induced sexual dysfunctions. His book, Your Brain on Porn, has a new edition released late last year, and also an audiobook version for the audiophiles out there, narrated by none other than me. So you can get that on Audible, Amazon Audible, and if you sign up for a free 30-day trial, you can get that book for free as your first month's book. All right, peace out.